What's up, everybody? You're watching CHITV, and today we have Ron as our guest. Ron, do you want to give like a short bio about yourself, who you are, what you do?
Of course. My name is Ron. That's Ronald. My government. um, my name is Ron McCullough. I'm 24 years old. I'm an Atlanta, Georgia native. Yes, really, really Atlanta. Not, song and everything. Actual Atlanta. Uh,
Is it like a not real Atlanta?
no, I'm really from within 285. I'm 100% from Atlanta. Like
Okay,
100%. Um, I'm a graduate of Atlanta public schools and everything. So,
gotcha. Okay, I don't
um,
count on that.
speaking of Atlanta public schools, I graduated from A&M Jackson High School. I also graduated from Atlanta University with a biology degree and a minor in math. Then I graduated from North Carolina A&T State University with my master's degree in biomedical engineering. I work as a college professor at my alma mater at Atlanta University. I also work as a private school teacher. I teach from 5th to 12th grade. And I work with my parents' business down the daycare. And this year marks their 30th anniversary of the daycare being open. So that's definitely
Wow.
a blessing for the community
Yeah.
with them as well. I also am an entrepreneur. I sell vintage and retro clothing, streetwear. Just on the side, a little side passion. And yes, I have one, two, three, four turtles.
What are the turtles' names?
My
Or you never
oldest,
named them?
my oldest turtle, his name is Pete.
Okay.
Pete is 3 years old, 3.5 now.
Oh,
Yes, and he is a razorback musk turtle.
wow.
And his name is Pete because when I first got him, he was not that good at swimming, but he can climb. So his name is really Peter Parker. But it just got kind of,
Wow.
it just got kind of shorted into Pete. My other three turtles are siblings. Their names are Huey, Louie, and Stewie.
Wow,
They
that's
are
really
common
clever.
musk turtles. And yes, although they're small, I still know the difference between all of them.
That's
So that's
super
just a
cute.
little bit about me. Oh, also, I'm working on my PhD at a small school called Beulah Heights University. And my PhD is in organizational leadership with a concentration in healthcare.
Dang. You have like a rack. Your LinkedIn must go crazy.
I need to update my LinkedIn, man. Honestly.
I mean, but it sounds like you're doing well though.
Yeah, man, I'm all right, but this is only the beginning. This is only the beginning.
All right. We're gonna get into where you want to take that, where you want to go with it, like what the plan is. But it sounds like you've laid a lot of good groundwork for yourself, especially really young. So mad respect for that. My like first major question, I asked this question to everybody, is how are you feeling today, really? Like physically, mentally, truly, like not just like, oh, I'm good, but like, how are you truly?
Well, physically, I'm pretty tired. I was at LA Fitness all day
Nice.
today since about 3:30, and I just got back home just in time.
Oh,
I,
nice. Wow.
I was playing basketball. That's my favorite hobby other than thrift shopping is actually playing basketball. So physically, I am pretty tired. Mentally, I feel great because over the last couple of years, I have been on a real mental health journey and learning myself and increasing my self-awareness. This is live footage of me shooting a three. Uh,
Oh,
nothing but buckets. There we go. 41.
wow.
Yes,
Wow.
I was doing that all day. And this is another little bucket I scored. It was too small. So yeah, you have to mentally and physically. You have to have good releases. On both levels.
No, I agree 100%.
So
That's
yeah,
like a lot.
I'm all right. I have nothing to complain about.
All right. Nice. Also, the poet says happy Sunday. And
Hello,
happy
the
Sunday.
poet.
Happy Sunday to you too.
This is my first time using Twitch.
I'm still learning, but it's a cool platform. It's a very cool community too.
Okay, I'll
Yeah,
take your word for it.
it is. Like, we'll see how many people. The poet is an OG person. He appears in a lot of my streams, but there's like a collective of maybe like 12 people who show up like pretty regularly. They're a pretty cool bunch of people, but we'll see where it takes. Sometimes it's more, sometimes new people come in all the time.
Okay.
But basketball is awesome. I don't have the hand-eye coordination really for basketball. I tried. I have the height for it, but I just don't have like
The hand eye
hand-eye.
coordination.
Yeah, it's not really. I'm like more of a leg sport type of thing, soccer and stuff like
Fun
that.
fact: I've been playing soccer longer than I've been playing basketball.
Really,
I
for how
played soccer
long?
since I was 5 years old. I played all the way from 5 years old to high school. And when I was in 12th grade, I was actually the #1 ranked goalie in Atlanta public schools.
Ooh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Gosh,
I
see,
always
you've been doing everything so young. Like that's like kind of leads into the question I was gonna ask. But what was it like going to college at such a young age? But it sounds like you've just been doing everything like at a really young age, like just hitting a lot of accolades that a lot of people don't hit at the
well,
ages that you have.
well, for clarity, for those in the stream, yeah, I graduated high school when I was 15 years old, and then I went to Clark Atlanta when I was 16 years old. Graduated from Clark Atlanta when I was 19 years old. Then I went to A&T. I got my master's degree when I was. Then I took a break here, and then now I should be done with my PhD pretty soon. So I should be 25-ish with PhD.
What is that like though for you? Like, what has that been like
Well,
in school when you were
I feel
younger?
like that's a strange question because I don't really know what it's not like. I've always
Huh.
been, yeah, I've always been pretty young because actually I went to kindergarten when I was 4 instead of 5, so that put me
Okay.
up. And then when I was in first grade, my whole first grade class is very intelligent, I guess. And we all took this test, and they promoted the whole class from first grade to third.
Oh wow.
That's how I ended up skipping grades. So I skipped second grade. And then my birthday's
Okay.
in the summer. So I would have, even if I was in my right place, I would have still turned ages after everybody.
Was everybody always like cool with you about it? Also, the poet said early congrats. I'm going to assume about your PhD.
I appreciate that.
But yeah, like how was that for
Well,
you?
I think I caught up. I caught up socially. I caught up
Okay.
socially around, I'll say like 4th or 5th grade. I was able to catch up socially. Because when
Okay.
I was in 3rd grade, it was pretty rough. Because I was 6. I was 6 years old. I was in 3rd grade, and I couldn't do stuff like tie my shoe or open the binders by myself or anything like that. Those were little fish out of water moments. But see, I was blessed enough to have 2 loving parents that would make accommodations. My mom sent me to school. I couldn't tie my shoes good. She sent me to school with sandals. Still going. And I had a lot of good teachers and everything surrounding me that pushed me towards success. So this is not just one man show. This is what you're looking at is a collective of efforts by many people.
Oh,
So shout
that's
out to
beautiful.
everyone, especially mom and dad. Hi, mom and dad.
Oh, that's beautiful though. Especially that you recognize that it wasn't just a one man show. I feel like it's really easy to get like caught up in yourself a little bit when you get a lot of accolades like that, or like when you just get recognized a lot for what you do. I think a lot of famous people do that now, but like kind of remembering who helped you get there.
I just it's hard to look at yourself from the outside in. It's very difficult to look at yourself from the side in. And so to that, I would say that I was just kind of doing these things and just doing them. I wasn't looking for, recognition or anything like that. Matter of fact, some people say I don't strive for to get enough recommendation or as I deserve, because it doesn't, accolades and everything. They're great, but honestly, they don't speak to the type of person that you are. So it's man-made material, fees and things like that. It's just you have to know within yourself. You have to know within yourself and congratulate yourself. But also you have to bring along people with you and see how many people that you can touch at once. It's not all about yourself. So when celebrities and things of that nature have that sort of that made it by myself attitude, like you said, everyone is just an amalgamation of different experiences being put into one person in one seed, right?
Facts.
So therefore, I don't seek a lot of validation, things of that nature. I just kind of go through life and make whatever impact that needs to be made.
As you should, though. I feel like that's the best way to live, like, or to be. I have mad respect for it too.
I appreciate that.
Oh, of
Appreciate
course.
it. Reciprocate it.
Thank you. I'm trying. I'm really trying. We're working on it. Wow. Okay. Yeah, the poet was letting me know that I had like in Twitch, I guess since you haven't used it as much, but there are categories that you can choose to have your stream in,
Mm-hmm.
and just chatting is technically what we're doing. So I usually would have it on
Switched it
that.
over.
I also do a chess stream sometimes. So I had the
Oh, I noticed
categories.
that when I was on the page.
Yeah. So I just corrected that because I forgot about that. The last stream I did was for chess. So I forgot to change it back. We're working on it. We're working on it. I'm getting better at it.
Work
But
on your craft.
yeah, that's literally all I really can do. But I'm trying, I do my stream a week, at least one. Now it's starting to be 2 a week. So we're getting better. We're getting better. So you said you had your undergrad was in bio, right? And you got your master's in organizational leadership, right?
My
A
my
year.
master's my master's is in biomedical engineering.
Got you.
The PhD I'm working on is organizational leadership with concentration in healthcare.
Got you. So college what's your class right now, by the way? Like what class do you
I
teach?
teach. I can teach biology, anatomy, biolab, micro, anything of that nature.
That's like my whole degree. Good times. Not really. I'm triggered a little bit, but good times.
I
Would
love
you pick your
bio. I
career?
love bio. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh no, you're fine. You could go up too.
I was just saying that I'm really fascinated in love, especially the human body, and just the notion of something being alive. Like, why is my turtle alive? My pillows aren't. What is that glue? What is that difference?
I get that.
I thought that was pretty intriguing, which I guess why I went down the biological sciences route.
I feel that. I feel the same. I liked understanding how everything worked. Like everything. How we're like the bed that I'm sitting on or like the microphone, it's made up of cells, but I'm also made up of cells. Like how does that work exactly? Yeah,
Right.
basically what you were saying. I feel that though. Bio is really interesting. It's just once you start getting down to like genes, that's where you lose me. There's so many of them. They
That's like
overlap
the best part.
process.
That's like the best
Okay.
part.
We have different views. I like the big picture and then like the medium picture. Once you start getting into like the nitty gritty, that's my brain. It was a lot.
Well, I guess my teaching style kind of reflects getting, funneling from that big picture to that little picture, because it's honestly the little things that matter the most. Like, for example, your hair has so much biological integrity that everybody who is ever your ancestor has something to do with your hair,
Hmm.
Like, they all of their genes are represented right here. This is everybody, whoever made me, mixed up.
Interesting. I never thought about it like that. I
So
never thought about it like that.
that's genetics.
Yeah, see, once we started talking about crossover and stuff like that, that's also where. But I understand that is the most important part. That's
That's the
why
most
we
important
are.
part. Crossing over is the reason why two people have different children. Like if the genes didn't cross over, every child would just basically be a twin. Do you have siblings?
I do.
Right, and you're not the same person as your siblings, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's because of crossing over genes.
See, as you're explaining it right now, like this natural conversation we're having right now, love that about bio. But if you're talking about like testing me, like you're supposed to put on what does this gene do that sounds very similar to a different process that is related but isn't the exact same thing, that's where I started to check out just a little bit. But this conversation we're having naturally about how the world works, love that.
I mean, it's just making everything relatable. That's exactly how I teach it. What I just did right there.
I feel that. I have mad
That's literally
respect
how
for
I
it.
teach it.
I have mad respect for it. I'm trying to do the same thing. So I'm sure a lot of students, myself included, I wish I had better teachers. Maybe I wouldn't have resisted it so much in college because it was hard. Like it was so hard mentally, emotionally, and I didn't feel understood and I didn't feel like I was understanding, and that put me off of it. So
I mean,
we
that
need more
tends to happen. You know, your teachers definitely have a huge influence on what you want to learn.
facts.
I
I agree with that.
see it every day. But I feel like anybody can learn anything. It's just interest. It's just their interest and what they put their mind to. And I also don't play into the whole, oh, I'm smarter, or this person is smarter and whatnot, because everybody are different things.
I agree.
So,
There's like
you know, I
9.
know people that dropped out of high school have way more money than I do. So
There's like
everybody,
16 different types of intelligence, or like 9 different types of intelligence, something like that.
oh, I'm not sure about that. I just know one.
Fair. I know we did a post about it because CHITV kind of has things of that nature. We talk about different areas of life, and one of them was intelligence. And I did some research for it, and there is there's 3 factors for intelligence, and this. Oh, there's 9 different types of intelligence.
Interesting.
Yeah,
But
I get you.
what is that based on? Like, give me an
Um,
example of like a couple of them.
Sure. One of them is linguistic. One of them is spatial, naturalist, musical, logical, mathematical, existential, interpersonal, bodily, kinesthetic, intelligence, intrapersonal. Yeah.
So Michael Phelps is more intelligent than me because he was.
He's probably like, I mean, you did the 3, so you're probably also bodily, kinesthetic. Maybe but
Oh,
it's a spectrum. It sounds like it's a spectrum of
maybe so.
wisdom.
That's interesting. I just learned something, and that's what life is about. That's what being even. Let me tell you, I've learned way more being a teacher than I did being a student.
What do you mean by that?
I mean that. I mean that looking at things from a different lens, I guess, activates another part or a sensation of you learning it. You know, it alters your perspective when you learn something. So that's pretty much what I mean about that. And
Okay.
I learned being an effective teacher, you have to learn. You have to learn so that you can convey the information so that your students can learn even more. So I'm constantly studying about the things that, you know, I have to teach. Just because your students trust you with what they're telling you or what you're telling them.
Is there any world where you would have picked a different career path or that you would have done something differently? Are you like very happy with the direction you're
I'm pretty happy. The only thing I guess I would change, if I went back to college, I would have just been a math major.
Really? Why?
Yeah, because biology was, I was super young and impressionable. So I bought into the idea.
Mm.
I bought into the idea that I would be a good doctor because people, that's the first thing Black people say. Oh, when you're intelligent, quote unquote. Oh, you're gonna be a doctor, or you're gonna be a lawyer. So I just kind of ran with that. Looking back at it, if I was better at decision making, then I probably would have been a math major. But my ultimate goal is to I want to be an astronaut, and I want to study life in outer space, and also part of my PhD. We'll talk about that later. But I actually applied to be an astronaut, and I got denied. So, but they'll see me again.
That's awesome, though.
Yeah,
I heard somebody
said, to apply. That was a long application. Took me an entire day.
Wow, it was that long. I mean, that makes sense though.
But there was a lot of psychological things going on in the application. Like they asked some of the same question 5 times, but worded it a little differently. I guess to see your logic, see if you would get tired and just be clicking the same answer. I don't know why they did it, but of course. It was very interesting. That was an interesting experience. I'm glad I was able to have the credentials to even, apply for that. So I feel grateful. Next time the application's open, they'll hear from me again.
Are you gonna keep trying until they say yes?
Yeah, I'm gonna keep trying. You never know. It's a small applicant too, like 8 people or something. But I might as well keep trying. Mm-hmm. Also, I'm looking into going further up in the academia route because being an adjunct professor is okay, but that position is created to be expendable. Because as soon as they don't have any classes to teach or something like that, then they can be like, well, it's in your contract. We don't have to pay you for this semester because I'm not teaching anything, So I think my goal now is to solidify my places now within higher education, especially after I'm done with my PhD. So.
Okay. What made you choose STEM though? Like, I mean, it sounds like you kind of already naturally gravitated to it. You liked bio, you would have done math instead, but why STEM instead of like anything else?
Why STEM?
Like, what do you?
I was just fascinating. First of all, I wanted to be an astronaut as long as I can remember since I was a child. Also, I was just really into, like, for example, Land Before Time. I don't know if y'all remember Land Before Time, but it was about the dinosaurs, the Littlefoot and Ducky and all that. Yeah, I was obsessed. But I guess that kind of was the precursor for biology because I found it fascinating, like, dinosaurs and everything. And I used to watch it in like 3 different languages. I used to watch the English version and the Spanish, Portuguese version. I don't know why. But then, it was always Thomas the Tank because, trains and everything just kind of gravitated me towards math. I really like Cyber Chase. That was one of my favorite shows.
Same.
So it kind of gravitated me towards math and science. Oh, and also I tried the whole music thing as well. I used to take piano lessons, and I couldn't stand it because all my friends were outside playing basketball, and I was playing piano. So after I learned Mary Had a Little Lamb, I said, Mom, I don't like this. Shout out to my parents for actually listening to me, and not only, but also listening to me and considering what I'm saying, but still choosing, what they thought was the best, route for me. They let me explore a lot of what I wanted to do and whatnot. So I think that was a very good parental skill. I've been in all types of programs and everything, all types of environments. Like, I'll give you an example. If we went out of town or something, my dad would have me running football routes and throwing the football. But then I had this like big ponytail. I had a whole bunch of hair. So on the weekend, I would be in the beauty salon with my mom. So I've seen life from all types of different perspectives. And I think I used to be in like beauty pageants or like talent pageants. Then play sports. So they really let me decide who I wanted to be. So
that's amazing.
It's just elite parenting. That's all.
No, for real, that is elite parenting. I know a lot of people, myself included, did not have that growing up. Did not have parents that were like both self-aware and then aware enough of their child to be like, let let them decide who they want to be. And you ended up like blossoming from that. It sounds like figuring out what actually worked for you and then leaning into that rather than them trying to force you into something in
Right.
particular.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
one thing they didn't really do was force. And if they felt like they were trying to force, they would kind of catch themselves and be like, whoa, I'm forcing. You know, matter of fact, that just happened recently when my dad was trying to get me to do something. And then I was like, oh, yeah, I don't know. He was like, think about it. He's forcing me to do anything, or forcing, his kids to do anything. So I think that was very good parenting. But, as with parents, you see the good and you also see the bad. Because,
Sure.
if you take a situation like that, and I tend to be that built such a great relationship with my parents that sometimes I catch myself not wanting to over rely with them. Then they're not,
Mm.
and then they're not used to it. But then they're the ones who kind of um, you know began that cycle in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that makes sense,
No, it
but
does.
if your parents were always with you and supported you that whole time, then when that doesn't happen, you're like, oh, well, do I have to prove myself that I can do this? Without them supporting you. I know it's a strange sensation, but you have to learn when your parents are that elite, you still have to learn self sufficiency.
Mm.
And a lot of my self esteem was coming at success based on what my parents were putting me in.
Mm.
So then that way I had to think, hey, am I really doing this for me? Am I living life for me, or am I living life for them? So you just have to be, again, even more self-aware than they were. So by putting me through every situation and helping me out, literally everything, I might have never missed a basketball game
Mm.
until he got banned from coming. But that's another.
Oh, he's that support, like that supported or yeah,
But
open.
but anyway, my point is, anything in my life, my parents didn't miss it, and they worked and everything. They own a business and all that stuff. So
That's
yeah,
beautiful.
it was just parenting. It was really, yeah. You gotta learn. You gotta look at everything in every perspective, good and bad.
Mm. Side note, the poet said Cyber Chase is underrated and the best kids
Yeah, I see
show.
that.
I agree.
I don't know about the best. That's a bold
It was
statement.
one of top five for
You know how many
sure.
TV shows it was? That's bold. That's very bold. It
Was
was
it the one?
underrated for sure. It was underrated for sure.
Okay.
But I mean, what is the best? Like,
That's
I say
hard.
it's SpongeBob. No, it's not SpongeBob.
Really?
It's the greatest cartoon that ever lived. They got the ratings.
Uh,
They have the ratings to prove
base.
it.
Okay. Okay. Ratings for sure. I don't know if that makes it the best though. There's a lot of like highly
It's
popular
iconic.
too.
It's super
Okay.
iconic. Um, the most popular character though is actually Pikachu
True.
in the world. The most popular character in the world is actually Pikachu. So does that mean Pokemon was the best? What is the best?
You know?
But I think overall, I'll give it to SpongeBob.
All right, I can respect that opinion. I don't know. It was SpongeBob also
Because it had
incredible.
something for the adults, it had something for the kids. But it was the only show I would tolerate that was super silly, though. As a kid, I didn't really like super silly stuff all the time because I always wanted my brain to be challenged. Go watch SpongeBob. I thought it was really fun.
That makes sense. No, I get you on that. I can dabble in all ranges, the silly and the
Time Chase is
non.
definitely underrated, though.
I agree. But it's really interesting how you described your relationship with your parents or just like how their support affected your development. Because I feel like I had the inverse. They were not very present, but I still had the same like self sufficiency and trying to figure out, can I be good without them? But
Mm.
it was being channeled from a different direction. Or can I be successful without necessarily their support or their presence? or even their understanding of what it is that I'm doing. But it's interesting. And I hope, at least in the future, that I can be a type of parent who allows my children to explore and kind of supports them in that. We probably will butt heads at some point because that's just nature.
Inevitable.
Yeah. But I'd rather be more open about it and be more present for them than I grew up having. In that, so how, for everything that you do, right, and everything that you've done, how do you measure success? Like, what does success like look like for you exactly, or feel like for you?
I don't know.
All right,
Because
that's
earlier I said
fair.
this is only the beginning. But where does it end? If success is the end, I don't know.
So you'll never know
That's
until that end.
until I feel like, wow, I'm successful. Because, like, for example, I'll give, and I know we're going to talk about my business and everything later, but for example, let's say I make $100. Then I'm going to want to make
Mm-hmm.
$1,000. Then I'm going to make $2,000. Where does it end? People say, oh,
It's
Jeff Bezos is successful. It's like, well, no, he's hungry still. Kanye
true.
West is successful. I mean, to you maybe, but do you think if you really thought it was successful, wouldn't you become complacent? What are you reaching
Probably.
for? What are we striving for? So no, I don't know what success looks like for me.
Interesting. No, but it makes sense though. I never thought about it. I guess like the idea that success is relative, like to you slash to the other people around you. Like, what do you value as success? But I get you on not really feeling it, knowing it completely until it's done. Almost like,
I'll put it to you like this. Let's say you're watching a TV show, and then you know the episodes, and the main character, whatever, got what they want, and then it ends. Life isn't like that. It's not just gonna allow me like, okay, we're done. So success is just a relational thing that we just made up based on wanting what someone else has.
mm, mm.
The real success is how you treat people, how you treat your family, how much love you spread. That's what. That's the only thing I could quantify really with success. Monetarily and materialistically and capitalistically, it's always more, more, more.
That's true. There's a lot of mores. A lot of, we live in a society that like is designed for that though, or designed for everybody to crave a little bit more or like want more or glorify having less, like minimalism. But I don't think we really know what that means exactly. There's a book I'm reading right now called Essentialism that I still have a lot to get through, but trying to understand what is actually truly essential in life and focusing on that. All right. Okay. Um, we are going to talk about your business at some point, a little bit later. But before that, I wanted to hear a little bit more about your activism. And I know it's been kind of weird because we've been in COVID. So it kind of changes the way that people usually go about that. But what like drew you to being an activist? I guess like, and how would you define that? Is it like a,
Yeah, well, my dad um, is a little bit of an older man, and he was kind of involved with the Black Panther Party.
oh, wow.
And I guess it was just innate. So I have pictures of me 1 year old doing this. Black Power. Actually, back then, I don't know what it meant.
Got
But
you.
what really sparked it, what really sparked it was after Ahmaud Arbery was murdered. I saw the video. I immediately went on Instagram, said, I don't know nothing about this, but I'm going to start a protest. And our first march, and about 20 people marched in front of Georgia's governor mansion with, all the signs and everything. This was before George Floyd was murdered.
Wow.
And that whole world protested. And it's sad because I've been all in activism. Matter of fact, this week I'm going to Selma, Alabama for the anniversary of Bloody Sunday. But as the world continues to go and spin, as the globe continues to spin, it seems like less and less people are interested. So my theory was that it's not that people were more or less interested. It was that people were more or less interested on their time. See, when George Floyd happened, COVID had not just began, but it was ramping up. And that made people look for something to do because they were working less. Right? And that sparked the media and everybody actually having time to protest and do whatever. So I had to tell myself, okay, I still have to pretty much be able to stick with it, even after work and everything starts back. And I think that's the difference. I think a lot of people are passionate enough about it to care about it. But it's a different life. I've run from the police. I've been I don't even know if that was pepper spray. That was an unknown chemical. I've run from rubber bullets. Had to escape a protest in somebody's trunk.
Wow.
Fought the National Guard face to face right here.
Wow.
I've seen everything. I've seen people get beat up by the police right there in front of protesters. People be arrested. And let me tell you, activism is, looking back at it, that tore up my mental health. Being out there, like seeing that all the time. I was a shell of myself because I still have responsibilities and stuff like that, with school and everything, get my PhD and everything. And my mental health was so bad then, but it was actually a blessing because that was the time I actually learned about mental health and its importance.
Wow.
But yeah,
it's understandable
seeing all of that, staying up late, planning protests, making signs, running from the police, and then just the mental drain. Because as an activist, you have to research. So all of these killings of Black people that happen, I've seen them all with my eyes on my phone, and I'm just giving myself trauma every time I see it.
Wow. No, but mad respect to you, at least for then, one, taking the step to consistently fight for what you believed in, and, not just as a pastime, but actually something you're passionate about, but at the same time recognizing that you can take a step back for your mental health and still, I guess, represent the same values that you were when you were doing that in other ways. In my mind, at least, what you're doing in education is another form of activism. It's more like a peaceful protesting in its own right, but impacting the way people think about themselves and think about education, think about the world at large. That's empowerment to me.
I don't want you to get it. I don't want you guys to get it twisted though. I'm down for a protest any day of the week.
Fair. I get you.
So that part didn't really change. It's just really the availability of other people's interest, media, stuff like that. That really drives the creation of such demonstrations. And it's pretty sad, but things like what happened to George Floyd happen so often. And then it really begs the question, okay, well, of course it's terrible what happened to him. And of course it's terrible what happened to God rest her soul, Breonna Taylor. There's so many more people. Did you know every city got a list of people this big? When I went to DC to protest something, because I'm protesting so many things. I've slept in a tent in front of the Department of Education protesting student loans on the cold, hard ground, and Do you know DC got a whole list of 20 people that just got killed by the police than Atlanta does? Like,
We only hear about the ones that are like caught on video and like really gruesome
oh, they're called
usually.
video. They're called body cams. That's why the people, the activists, have a leg to stand on because we can see it.
Yeah.
And one thing that I can say, I watched the State of the Union address of Joe Biden, and I do believe they're doing like federal mandates of things like body cams and holding law enforcement more accountable. But that's a whole other thing. I mean, Joe Biden's very middle of the road type of Democrat, person. He's not gonna go too far to the left with it. But that's fine. That's fine.
I feel like we needed something a little bit neutral after the past few years.
Yeah, and he's so neutral that Fox News, man, they literally find stuff to say about him. It'll be something like, "Oh, Joe Biden trips down the steps of Air Force One. He's too old." Like, Joe Biden allows a bunch of people in the White House without a mask, although he was saying that's mandated. There's stuff like that. It's just like, okay.
If you feel like it fluctuates kind of with the media and just like what's going on in the world at this specific time, it's not necessarily like consistent. What do you feel like people are fighting for? And then what do you feel like we should like, or what do you hope to see as a result of it?
I
Like
hope to
in
see my fellow activists and anyone who fight. I would hope to see that everything. I hate to say this, but everything isn't a fist fight.
Okay.
Every case isn't winnable. For example, the tragedy in Ukraine. Okay, of course, what's going on in Ukraine, and of course, a lot of the activists are like, "Oh, well, black people are getting denied at the border because, they're not Ukrainian. They want Ukrainians to move out," which is sad. They should be getting everybody out of there.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you still have to. It's not mutually exclusive to say pray for Ukraine. It's just like, oh, they don't like black people either.
Yeah.
Forget what's going on over there. But it's like, no, there's still people, and this is more of a Martin Luther King type of philosophy. But I mean, you still gotta love the person, even though they're beating you up. You don't have to like them. Do I like them? Beating my people up? It's like no. But the philosophy is that you still got to be the good person. And a lot of times, in a lot of cases, it's just picking straws because you're fighting for this person just because they're black, and I get that. But at the same time, if the person's wrong, then they're wrong. Or if the case, or they're placing the blame on the situation when the blame is actually the systematic. Is dealing with the system. Like, I remember the guy, I can't even think of the young man's name, but I remember he had a knife, and he was in a knife at the police officer, and the police officer shot him. Tragic. But to me, well, he didn't even point the knife at the police. It was something like that. I can't really remember the situation now, but it had to do with police officer thought he had a knife, so he shot him. Young man died, but he never rushed or anything at the police officer. But to me, it turns out that was a mental health crisis. And he happened to have a knife and stuff already before the police got there and everything. Wow. So to me, it was a systemic thing because it should have been, in place where, okay, this is a mental health crisis, not the police pulling up and seeing somebody with a weapon or think it might be a weapon, and it actually is a phone or something.
That's sad.
It's super sad. But like I said, that's a systemic issue. Or even the famous one with Rayshard Brooks. I don't know if you know about Rayshard Brooks, but he's the reason Wendy's got burned down.
No, I didn't, but I did hear about the Wendy's being burned down, but I didn't know there was someone behind that.
So what happened was in the Wendy's line, the police came because he was in the Wendy's line, whatever. I guess he was drunk, so they pulled over to the side in the parking lot, but he was drunk. and the police officer came and they were trying to arrest him because for drunk driving, although he wasn't driving. But it was still technically legal arrest because he got to the parking lot. Does that make sense? Although he was drunk. So
Yeah.
now if I was that police officer, I'd be like, man, like you gotta walk home or do something. Now that's just me. But you know, they tried to arrest him and they ended up fighting. And he took the taser and he ran away. But as he was running and kind of turning around, he started to point the taser at his officer, but then the police officer shot him while he was kind of running and turning around. And that was in the middle of the George Floyd stuff. So then you had a lot of people in the police department quitting, and then a few minutes after that, somebody burned down Wendy's. And then that became like a memorial site. But that's a tricky situation because the police officer can say, "Oh, I thought my life was in danger, so I shot." Then there's this grainy surveillance video and everything, and it's a very important situation. But again, to me, that's a systemic issue. That is because there's so many things going on, and I'm not making an excuse, but that's a systemic issue because the officers weren't competent enough to arrest this man. It was two of them, and like one of him or something like that, and he ended up getting away. But they talked to this man for about 2 hours before he even, I don't know how long it was, before the whole situation happened, trying to arrest him and everything. It was just how it was handled, you know, kind of resulted in his death.
What would you say to somebody who doesn't believe in systemic racism? Because I've heard a few people who have mentioned that, or like they don't necessarily think that there is, that this, like the Constitution is
Of
for
course,
everybody.
systemic racism. Did you know that? First of all, I'll start with the easy one: redlining and gentrification.
Yeah.
First, well, redlining is a little bit older, but essentially, they would not give like credit tax breaks, things like that, to certain neighborhoods that was in the red zone that African American people lived in because, you know, African American people, whatever minority group. But I can prove systemic racism with a simple thing that most people probably don't know. Did you know that in the 17, 1800s, if you invested $100 in some land, okay, and you kept that land and your family kept that land till now, that $100 is now like almost $1 million.
Wow. Okay, well that makes sense.
So
But
the systemic racism is coming from, of course, like people that have $100 to invest in some land. In the times we did, and the towns and stuff we built got flooded. But over time, since that was a head start in generational wealth. And then that should tell you right there that it's system racism because it's kind of like starting a race late.
yeah, I mean, I
Another form
agree
of
with that.
systemic racism, and I actually experienced in high school, is gentrification and whitewashing certain areas. You see, when I was little, East Atlanta was Gucci Mane country. You know, I'm just saying there was a lot of this, but now it's such a mixed community, it blows my mind. But it's just like, you know, raising the price of property and property taxes so you can get more convenience, go to work into the city, but at the same time finding ways to displace people. That's why so many black people moved out into the suburbs, because it's cheaper to live in the suburbs than it is in the city when it was historically like that. So there's plenty of examples of systemic racism.
Okay, that makes sense.
World. So that's what I would say. Somebody definitely exists, and it's hard to do something about, because how do you pick up someone from the back of the race and put them when everybody's still running?
Huh. I never thought about that, but that's a very good question, though. How do you pick up somebody and make them at the right? I feel
Now,
like,
some people got lucky, or some people
yeah.
had the skills enough to kind of put their family on their backs and be able to start the creation of generational wealth.
Mm-hmm.
So
I feel like in the case of most African American people, the way that we're able to get level with the race is by getting stronger faster. Whereas everybody else isn't really like they are too, but like for us, it's more like I don't want to say life or death because I feel like that's dramatic, but at the same time, it is, like
you gotta run twice as
trying to,
fast
yeah,
to catch up.
exactly.
But that's hard to do when our public schools with our young men and women. Like I bet you can ask any school age kid, just ask them what the mayor does, ask them what the DA does, ask them what the sheriff does,
Hmm.
ask them anything about local government, ask them anything about credit. These are things
Yeah,
that public schools don't really teach, probably because they don't want everybody to just easily have access to it.
interesting. Huh?
Which is
That's
not
true.
racism. Any inner city children. Then they got all the stuff, magnet schools and IP and all this other stuff, programs. No, just teach people actual life skills.
The poet said capitalism as a system would not thrive if everyone was able to reach the top.
Yes, and that's true. This is a capitalistic society, which
Yeah.
is the creation of that divide. The whole Republican, Democrat, left wing, right wing, social, all that good stuff.
All that good stuff.
But see, it's tricky because the option doesn't really work too well either.
I don't think there's any system that's going to really work well, which is well, like maybe not one that exists right now. I'll say it like that.
Yeah, I mean, but what is working well? Because a capitalist would say capitalism is working well because they're wealthy.
It's true. I guess that again comes kind of where you define or how you measure success. It's going to look different for everybody. Socialists would say it's successful if everybody has access to certain things. Capitalists would say they're successful if they make a lot of money. And yeah.
I agree. And
Huh.
and I was thinking about this today. Like money is literally paper, and it's literally
Yeah.
something that you see your account on your phone now when you buy food. Like it's just numbers.
It's weird because we assign value to it. Like everybody could decide that seashells are a new currency, and then it would just be who has a bunch of seashells would really be the wealthy
What I
person.
do? I sell seashells by the seashore.
But that's so sad. But like we depend so much of our life, and I understand it's important. It influences a lot of our life, but we just like attach so much value to it. Like, but for things that are internal as well, like esteem and compassion, empathy, like some of those get eradicated. Pride gets tied into money. I feel like it's just really ugly because it's a material. Like kind of like what you were
It's
saying about.
material no more. It's just digital. It don't even exist really. It's
That's
the
true.
ones and zeros on the screen.
That's true. But we attach so much life value to it. Like a lot. I mean, I do too. I want to be successful as well, but at
We
the
all do.
same time,
But you
yeah.
can't blame yourself. That's the society that we live in. We live in a capitalist society, so we need money. It's that
Yeah.
simple.
With activism, how do you feel like you'll know that you've made a difference, like with your life? Like, or do you feel like you'll ever know, or you just kind of like are hoping that it
Oh no,
is?
that's a common question. I explain to people all the time that they're like, well, what difference are you making? Well, if you change one person's life, or maybe one person kind of thing, then all the impact you need to make. Everybody's not going to be Martin Luther King, Malcolm X. Mind you, those people were glorified for different reasons. There was
Yeah.
plenty of activists back then, but and no shade to them at all. But it's
Huh?
if you can your impact. Activism is like you're putting your impact. It's like 1 grain of sand on the beach. You're 1 grain of sand on this whole beach.
Mm-hmm.
You know how many grains of sand in the beach?
A lot.
Probably a handful of sand, probably a million pieces of sand. But look, all of those pieces of sand together make a beach.
True.
So you literally just one piece of sand on each. And if you're okay with doing that, you be an activist.
That was beautiful. But I felt that. And I think that's a very good way to describe it. Just one person at a time, or like, that's all you really can do to start.
You can
And
do
then
it.
one day you look
If you
up and
get
it's a
lucky, you'll
beach.
go viral, and then people listen to you for 5 seconds. You gotta be okay with that, though.
Hmm. That's good to
And
know. I like
you also have to stick true to word, though, because a lot of activists, they tend to just do it for the limelight. I'm not gonna lie. Look, I love taking pictures in front of the march or whatever, but you don't see me at every march. I'm not about to just take a picture in front of the march and then that's it. Like, I'm actually taking pictures and posting so that people can see like wow, like this content is good because something is needed there.
Hmm.
You also have to learn as an activist that as activists, so the definition of activist is someone who isn't a politician
Huh.
that tries to change the status quo or laws or anything like that. So that's what activist is. So you got to realize, just like how I can call myself an activist, the people who believe that Donald Trump won the presidency and it was the whole stop the steal thing, those are activists too. They're activists. So that's a spectrum in itself too. And I learned as an adult, every little thing that you think you want to do, it comes with an entire world of stuff. Every little thing. For example, you're trying to do Twitch streams, right? Because you've probably seen somebody do a Twitch stream, a Twitch stream. It's like, well, that's cool. I want to do it. And then now it's all this microphone and mirror images and stuff, all this whole world stuff that you got to learn to even do this one simple thing that you think is simple when you start. Activism is the same way. It's a whole world. Everything is just a whole world.
That excites me though, kind of. Like, I like that, even though it's challenging, and I feel like that off puts a lot of people. But I understand that most things that you want to do, like that you see people doing, even if they look easy, like I'm sure somebody could look at you from pictures that you've done in the past of you doing activism and been like, that was easy. He showed up at the march, he had a poster or two, and like they did a walk or their thing, and then they did, but not really understanding the full grasp of what that.
They didn't see the training, the research.
Yeah, I get that. Oh, Akeem is in here, and he says hello. What's up, Akeem? Greetings. Talking about activism right now, but it's interesting how you said that activism is a spectrum. Almost, I've never heard that before, but that's a cool statement, and I definitely agree.
Very much so. Just like we have like for example, like pro-abortion, pro-life. It's people that literally believe the opposite of what you believe and will fit for it. Mm-hmm. I drove by Planned Parenthood. People got signs, oh, abortion is murder and all this stuff. So like it's literally whatever your position is, that's an activist that's fighting the exact opposite position.
That's true.
So it's no right or wrong.
Oh, that's a good question. It's relative. It's really relative to the person and the person's values.
It's what you believe is right or wrong.
Yeah.
For example, like I just said, oh, they need to teach credit in local government and public schools. I'm pretty sure that's been across the desk before. It's pretty obvious. That's a pretty obvious thing to say. But obviously, someone found reasons why it should.
Probably, it's most likely money related, but yes, that's true. I also agree. But I don't think people realize, okay, but then I'm sure even if I said that, even if I say what I want to say now, again, like you said, there'll be somebody who has the exact opposite opinion of me as well. So it really, like, it does matter, but it doesn't matter. But at least for that education part, I don't think people realize that you could still make a lot of money from doing the right thing. But then again, the debate about what the right thing is would come into play.
What activist, with a lot of money?
Nah. The lady who was running Black Lives Matter, who like embezzled or took a bunch of, and
you got to
all
think
that.
that's a lot of branding and merchandising.
Yeah.
I guess that's activism, I guess. But most activists gonna be broke. Because when you fight for what you believe in, your resources are gone. Because I spent gas getting to this march. I spent energy yelling my lungs out when I could have been doing something else making money.
It's true. You have no regrets. I don't think you should, but I'm just asking. You have no regrets about that.
Well, it's not really regret because I learned from it, but it's the whole mental health thing. Like my mental health was so in the garbage during that whole time. I was like basically a robot out there marching. These names. Somebody got to scream them, I guess.
Props to you for doing it, but also for recognizing your mental health and like taking action towards it. Just because I feel like it's very touchy still. Like we're getting better at it as a society or as a community to talk about it, but I feel like particularly for men, that's not really a topic that you guys get to dive into as deeply.
And that's why more men commit suicide, because a lot of male mental health is ignored or not done anything about.
I agree. So I have mad respect for you for investing in yourself in that way, like, and trying to better
I could
that.
do better, but it starts with self-awareness. It starts saying, okay, why am I feeling this? It starts with learning what your therapy is. You know, it helps me. Being in the car, blasting music, singing to the top of my lungs makes me feel so good.
Same.
Basketball, that's all therapy. I was never formally in therapy. I probably should have been, because just watching videos of black people getting shot, basically watch videos of you getting shot. Seeing Breonna Taylor's blood on the wall, it's real. And you just consumed with it because you have to know about it to correctly fight about it. It's a shock because you don't know what you signed up for.
I don't think any of us really signed up for this, though, like any of it. So I don't think Brianna signed up for that. I don't think Mr. Aubrey signed up for that either. George signed up for that either. Like none of us really do. It is unfortunate that we have to spend so much time. I was talking with somebody about that earlier, about like the extra time or the extra step kind of that it feels like we have to put in just to like survive. Like I was going to go on a walk and I have like black yoga pants and a black like throwover jacket. And I was like, I feel like I shouldn't wear it all black though, because I feel like that might intimidate somebody if I try and go on a walk in the neighborhood. And just even the fact that I have to think like that instead of just like free. I don't think people realize that in itself is a privilege. Just being able to like get up and walk outside and like be, because I think about that all the time. Even when I go to the grocery store, I'll see certain trucks and I'll be like, I don't know if my presence is going to upset you. I don't know if we're gonna have a conflict here just by me existing. And it's sad that we even have to be worried about that, like, or just have this underlying worry about it, where other people just like live. And I don't think they recognize that.
I think I would, to a degree, able to recognize that. That's why I always move with such a light spirit. Where, although I'm a big black man, so I probably don't have the same, I guess, worries that like a black woman would or a woman would about someone like jumping out of a bush or something, anything like that. But at the same time, I try to put out the energy that I want to receive. So I move with a very light spirit. If a kid waves at me, I'm gonna wave back at the kids. Things like that. So you have to put out the energy of I'm not a threat. So that way, when you walk past people, you actually rub some of their energy. Like you can feel it. That's why you can feel someone looking at you. That's why you make eye contact with people. It's that's that's a
That
whole
makes
nother
sense.
level of thinking. But you gotta really think like that. So I noticed that, usually with pets and babies and stuff like that, like some people's dogs are always trying to play with me because it's just the energy that is put out.
That's
But
beautiful.
some people have their implicit biases and everything. They might see me as a threat, maybe, but if they look at me for 2 seconds, they'll see I'm not.
Hmm. That's beautiful, though. Keep putting out. I mean, I'm sure you already will, but keep putting out good energy.
Yeah, you have less to worry about. If something happens, it's not your fault.
That's true. That's true.
But you still have to be aware of your smells and everything because some people is mentally not on that wavelength.
Yeah, that's more what I think. And you make a good point about the distinction of black women, I guess. At least me. Like, I know that there's certain things I can defend myself in certain ways, and there are certain things that I can't. Like, I'm not built in a way to defend against certain types of, like, somebody popping out at me. But I do respect that. And I also try and put out good energy as well. And I feel it for most people. I think we're getting like better. I'd like to believe that, but I also know that there's on the flip side a lot of stuff that happens on the dark side of things that are happening like that don't appear in the news every day and stuff like that. So huh, that gave me a lot to reflect about though. Hmm. All right. Well, I have like a gear switch kind of. Though
Okay.
I think what our conversation is important. Like I'm really glad we had that conversation because I think it's important. Not only like you've kind of facilitated reflection in me, but hopefully anybody watching this, like Akeem, poet, and then anybody who watches this later, you also will like have the opportunity to reflect on that. I think it's an important aspect of life. But I know another important aspect of life is fashion, particularly vintage fashion for you. So I had a question when I first like asked you to be a guest, and after like because I know a little bit about like what you do and like about the reselling, but I wanted to understand what makes something vintage, like from your perspective. What is a vintage
Oh
versus
no,
like
that's not a perspective. What makes something vintage is that it's over 20 years old.
okay,
Simple, cut and
oh,
dry. But people use
interesting,
it as a marketing term and be like, "Oh, this is a vintage shirt or whatever." See, what
yeah.
that actually is, the vintage style is called retro.
Okay, so what's the difference between vintage and retro?
Vintage is literally the item that we're looking at is over 20 years old.
Okay,
And then if it's over, I think 75 or 80 or 100 years old, then it's antique.
okay.
That's only
Oh,
that's the difference. And it's different ways that you can look at clothes and say, "Oh, this is vintage," or "This isn't," you know, vintage.
okay. That's good to know. I really never knew, so I learned something today from you because I
Yeah, that's
did not
literally
know.
what it means. A lot of shirts have dates on them, but you can do stuff like look at certain tags, styles, and stuff like that, and you can actually get a pretty good estimate of how old something is most of the time.
Okay, I'll look at that. I have a jacket that I think I bought from
Go
a
get it.
vintage store. Huh?
Go get it. You don't want to
All
go.
right.
Yeah, you should go get it.
I can't. It's like a jeans jacket though.
It kind of still kind of depends on the tag, and it's that energy that it gives. Like you can kind of tell if it's.
Let me
And
look
then
for it.
it's a really good time for vintage now because early 2000s is becoming vintage.
Um, oh yeah, I wear this jacket everywhere. I got it in Ireland.
Nice.
Oh, all right. But I'll look at the tag and actually see the date. But it's a G, like much large, oversized.
Let me see the tag.
Oversized. The tag's like stupid faded.
Really big faded tag. It probably is vintage, maybe.
It's a Levi's.
Hmm.
Large. Where would the date be?
didn't women tag. But
Oh, how
what
would
I'm
it?
saying is you can kind of tell about the style tag. I can get probably some examples if you want.
Sure. Yeah, I was gonna actually ask you if you had some.
Okay, yeah, I got it. Well, this shirt that I have now, this is Jasmine Guy.
Okay.
This is not vintage. I made this shirt like 2 days ago.
Wait, what do you mean made?
I made it. Like,
Oh, that's awesome. Like you have
it's over,
screen
it's
printing.
over for y'all now. I can print stuff on shirts now.
You
But
learned
this is
how to
really
screen
retro
print?
style. Hmm. And actually, the thing is, I actually messed up on it, which made it look better.
Wow.
So
Nice.
that's Jasmine Guy, and it
How
says,
long did it take you to make?
mm, no. Once you have all the materials, like minutes.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, but
That's
I can go show you some examples of like some like vintage stuff. And this would be retro. This would be a real style because
okay.
it looks vintage or whatever, but it's not. I just made it the other day.
Okay.
So give me a second. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna turn my camera off.
Okay.
So I'll be back in like 5 seconds.
Go for it. I'll be here.
I'm gonna get
I'm gonna
some
talk
heat.
with.
That's it.
I've seen it on Instagram. I put the link to it in the bio for this as well for his Depop shop and his Instagram. So you guys will be able to see it. But also in the meantime, the poet, Akeem, how you both doing, friends? How is your week going so far? Akeem, also, what time is it for you? I saw that you streamed earlier and I was gonna watch it, but I went to dinner because my brother's birthday was yesterday. But how are you two? It's like super hot in my house. Super hot. Like disturbingly hot. But yeah, I want to hear how y'all are doing while we wait. It's like an intermission. Streaming intermission. You said you're doing well, a bit in pain. What do you mean? What type of pain? Like, worked out and went to a rage room yesterday. That's awesome. I mean, that sounds a little painful, but I love rage rooms. So I might hear when I stream later. I'm going to ask you about that, the poet. All right,
Ready?
Ron. Yep, I'm ready.
Okay. Now some stuff is a little bit kind of difficult to date, but general rule of thumb, if it's something kind of like an outrageous style that has like a huge tag, this jacket is probably from the early 2000s. It's a Gatorade. It's a
Wow.
Gatorade bomber jacket.
Ooh.
It says laced up, and then the back of it, sorry, it says "Make me like Mike,"
Ooh.
but it's probably
That is
vintage.
nice. Wow.
Like
Where'd you get it from?
thrift store.
Got you. Are there a lot of thrift stores in Atlanta?
Yes,
Okay.
a lot, and that's good and bad for me. It's good for me because I
Oh,
can get endless stuff, but bad because there's other people that resell and stuff. All right, this I got as a gift
okay.
because I love Waffle House and I love outer
Okay.
space. So why not get the gift of Waffle House on the front? Notice this big giant tag. You see the big tag? This is a total text.
Yeah.
Another thing that you can tell if a shirt if it is vintage or not, it has what you call single stitch. So this is a single stitch, which means it has one line of stitching going down versus it's hard to tell, but this has two lines going down the
Okay.
sleeve. So single stitch is a dead giveaway because when they started making higher quality shirts, they started using double stitch. Anyway, Waffle House on the front, and there's NASA on the back.
Oh, that's
And then,
cool.
yep. Then this year, here, you can sometimes see here under the graphic, but that's 1992. So this shirt is from
Wow.
1992, and this shirt is 30 years old.
That's super cool.
Also from 1992, we have the Atlanta Braves Championship from 1992.
Wow.
Very nice. Big tag. This is an old 90s Fruit of the Loom tag. And
Oh.
the single stitch. You can see it better on this shirt. Do you see it?
I do.
Yeah.
This single stitching.
I got a lot of stuff from 1992.
What made you even get into vintage
Oh,
fashion? Like how?
I'll talk about that.
Okay.
This is another cool piece. This is Chicago NBA Championship shirt. And all the scores from their past championships
Wow.
and everything. This is the back. For some reason, from 1992. And it has the scores.
Wow.
Yeah, man. I'm showing you like two
Did
more
you
things.
get that in Chicago?
Oh, I got this. I bought this off of the guy.
Okay.
This is also, this better not be from 1992. Can't tell what this year is, but this is from, so the Atlanta Falcons play in the Mercedes-Benz Stadium now. And that was since 2017. Before 2017, they played in the Georgia Dome. Now, I'm not sure what year they started playing in the Georgia Dome, but this shirt is from the first game, or the first year they started playing in the Georgia Dome.
Wow. Oh.
And guess what? Got a nice big tag. And a single stitch versus a double stitch.
What year was that they switched?
I mean, you could Google it. You could put in what year did the Falcons move? They got the old Falcons logo and everything.
I'm gonna Google it.
Not sure what year it is. But yes, it's from literally the first.
I'm gonna Google it right now. Because I want to know. What year the Georgia Dome?
I've only worn this once.
1992.
1992, seriously? 1992 in a row.
That's so funny.
Now, this next thing is one of my favorite pieces that I have.
Okay, why is it your favorite?
It's just really sentimental.
Okay.
So this is for Disney. Okay.
Wow.
And this is from the promo of A Bug's Life.
Wow. Why is that sentimental to you? Or why is the shirt? Or is it the movie?
Got this. That's the caterpillar that'd be like, "Oh, a beautiful butterfly. I'm going to be a beautiful butterfly."
I remember that movie.
Yeah, this is right when Disney merged with Pixar, and this is the promo. Promo to it. Look, this is beautifully faded and everything. Real cool stuff. That's just a little bit of stuff on my vintage collection, but I also sell vintage clothes, of course.
I've seen some.
It's possible to share my screen.
Pros? That's possible. I've never done it before, but if there's a button on there, no. Background, yeah. There's like dotted.
So this is the platform I sell on. It's called Depop, and it's an application that you can get on your phone. It's real easy to go around the website and order things. I'll show you some stuff I got on my site, and then I will show y'all just like generally how it works. But this is where you get that drip from, man.
Oh, shoot. Well, you guys heard it here first. You know where to go now.
Like for example, this is just some stuff that is from Nightmare Before Christmas. Now you see this tag?
Yeah.
This isn't vintage. This isn't vintage. Newer shirts have the tag printed on out of it. So this shirt is relatively new, probably like 2015 or something like that.
Okay. Oh, I didn't know that. Huh. I'm gonna look at clothes very differently now when I go shopping.
Oh, definitely. Or like, this looks really old, right?
Yeah.
It's really faded. It's Britney Spears, but that was really because this is just out of H&M.
Oh. So retro.
Right, this is a retro style.
Wow. Oh my
This
god, I'm
is
learning.
retro Star Wars, a retro. This is a retro Space Jam. This isn't an old Space Jam. This is a newer Space Jam because this is from 2020. You got to read it.
Okay.
Even though it does have a big tag, you still got to look at the year on it. This is in 2020. So this is the Toon Squad from LeBron, not from Michael Jordan. So that's like retro stuff. I have a lot of vintage stuff also.
What type of vintage stuff do you have?
For example, this is Florida, University of Florida hoodie, hockey jersey thing.
Ooh.
And you can see this nice tag. This is probably vintage, big, huge tag. And this is the energy it gives off. It just feels so soft and old. I got some SpongeBob, of course.
Of course.
Got some Buzz Lightyear.
Oh, I love Toy Story. I like cried at the last one.
You cried?
Yeah, I
These
did.
are some,
In my
some vintage Reebok
Ooh.
pants, 80s. And I know that because this is how Reebok tag looked in the 80s.
What size are they?
They're large. And usually I have, for sweatpants and stuff, I don't really do the measurements because, stretch to whatever you wear. But usually I have the measurements and stuff right
I might actually want those blue pants.
Hey man, just cash at me. You can have them.
How much are they?
Well, they're on here for 40, so for you, I'll do 30.
I feel special. All right, I'm gonna message you after this. I'm gonna actually go through. I put the link to the Depop store in the description of this video, so anybody who wants to shop with you can definitely go there. But I actually didn't really sit down and look through it, but I'm gonna do that.
Oh yeah, because I sell clothes, and they're like, okay. Then when they actually see it, it's like, oh, wait a second.
Yeah, I'm
Some
intrigued.
old True Religion, jean shorts with this beautiful little graphic on the back. Very rare.
It's really also cool to hear how passionate you are about it. I can tell you care about.
We gotta go. Cool.
My brother would love that.
He likes Dragon. He has good taste.
I'll let him know.
This is I'm able to customize them. So this is black and white like this, but I customize and put these little bleach stripes on there.
Ooh.
This will be a retro thing of Drake.
Oh.
More house stuff. A lot of anime stuff.
My brother would like that.
This is a Thundercats from 1990.
Ooh. Do you ship only in the US or do you do international?
I did one national thing before.
Okay.
And that's an experience because he was all the way in here. Let me show you what it was. This is it also shows you the things that you sold. Like I sold these pants.
Wow. You're doing well.
Beautiful shirt. Oh,
that's dope.
I sold something. overseas. It was
All right, that's because I know a few people. Like Akeem is in the UK, but just I know a lot of.
Depop is so popular. It's more popular in the UK than it is here in the US.
Oh,
They also
dope.
shoes, sneakers. This is the thing that I sold overseas, actually. Oh, it's gonna come up. Well, I don't come up. Yes, I sold all of this stuff.
Wow, that's amazing.
I thought it was dope. They're not coming up after I sold them. Oh,
Huh.
it's all state. That's the thing. Like, you know, this is some drip that people don't have. So I'm gonna show you now.
Okay.
So deep, it looks around, or that's what they're kind of trying to be like.
Okay.
So let's see. It'll get off of my page. Code by 24 already. And literally got all these people selling.
Wow. Nipsey Hussle. That's just. Ooh.
If you want some vintage sweatpants, there you go. This one got an upside down Nike sign.
Ooh. I'm intrigued.
They literally have anything. Give me something to search. I bet you they have it.
Retro crop top.
Look at it.
Vintage crop top. All right. Oh. Interesting. Oh.
And Depop got that drip for me, man. And then most people buy the measurements. You probably should know your measurements before you be ordering stuff.
Okay. That's good to know.
I mean, unless it's like, I'm pretty much sweatpants. Some stuff like crop tops and stuff like that, I would kind of know what I'm getting before you think it looks like this, but looks like this on you.
That makes sense. Oh, my sister would like that one with the tongue, the rainbow tongue. Oh, that's cool. I'm gonna start getting people's birthday, Christmas presents.
Oh, yeah, great place for birthday. You know someone who likes anime? Guess what?
Next year, for my brother, I'll just come to your store.
That's what I mean. They got it. You got
Oh.
my these stuff cool. Mm-mm.
Oh, that's dope.
And you can filter by size, price, all that.
That's so cool. I learned 2 new things today. All right.
Yeah, Depop. Once I told people about my store in Depop, there's no point in going like to the mall or anything like that. Like you can literally be like, oh, a speed racer, freaking vintage shirt. There it is.
Oh, dang.
So
I'm gonna look into it. I'm gonna explore after the stream. I'm literally gonna go explore that.
this is cool. Harley Davidson is a popular vintage brand. It's really getting into vintage. You gotta get some Carhartt. You get some Carhartt. You gotta get some Harley Davidson. You gotta get some vintage Nike. Those are the essentials.
Okay. Oh, that's good to know. Vintage Essentials by Ron.
You gotta get some Carhartt. This little logo here. I don't know if you ever seen that.
Mm.
But now that I showed you, you're gonna see it everywhere.
Okay, I'm gonna start looking out for it. What is the logo for?
It's called Carhartt.
Oh, okay.
Carhartt.
Okay.
HATT. But that's real popular in the vintage world. New Year jean jackets.
Oh,
Wow,
nice.
just $100. Like you'll see stuff here for $5 and stuff for $600.
Oh, wow. Wow. I mean,
I'll pay when they buy it. When someone buys it.
that is intense, but also I love jean jackets, like huge fan of them. Or I like jackets,
So,
purses, and shoes. Those are the
but they
three.
got purses. They got vintage purses.
Ooh. Yeah, I really am into the bags.
Real stuff that people never seen. Like I've never seen anything like this, but this was so cool.
Whoa.
So Depop is that place. So yeah, I've been
Ah,
selling Depop for about 5 or 6 months. 7 months.
wow. You sold all of those things in like the 5, 6 months?
Yeah, man.
You're really hustly though.
I'm trying. I was recently contacted by Depop. They got me in like this program now. Now, let me tell you. Now let me show y'all how much money in this world. If you know,
Okay.
let me think of a shop. Loveless. This dude is like, for example, a very popular person.
Okay.
Loveless. That's the name of the shop, I think. How do I search people's names? Just go and explore.
Okay.
Well, I'm just going around the page. Okay. Probably bought this stuff. They probably bought this for like $5,
Wow.
and they're selling it,
Wow.
and it'll probably go.
How do you
But
define the pricing for those?
I just recently met this person.
Okay.
Well, it's not searching for the shop. It's just searching for
The item.
the item.
Is there like a button at the top where you can choose?
This is a phone app. They're not all the way on. Like
Um,
it's not even meant to be on the desktop. Like
oh.
okay, you can kind of tell by their. Okay, this person got 1,000 sales, so let me just go on their page.
Wow. All right.
Okay, this is a verified seller. So this is how many things he sold. So if he's selling these things for $50 and he sold 4,000 things, I mean, you do the math.
I'm gonna do the. Hold on, give me. I'll do the math. But like, you could probably do it in your head. But I.
No, I can't do the math.
Oh, love. Okay, I feel because I know you like the math. Once we passed multivariable, that's when I also checked out. I was like, this is too much. If it was $15 per, he's made 60,000. That's assuming everything's 15.
So if he's selling averages of something $15, which most of this stuff seems to be very reasonably priced, which is probably why he's doing good. But he got a lot of stuff too.
Wow.
Way more stuff than that.
Is that where you'd like to get your page to eventually, or like just selling this frequently?
I have no space in my house.
Got fair.
Like this dude got stuff for days. Do you see this?
I do see it.
Okay, now we're getting to the slow stuff. So this sold 25. That sold 30, 30, 35.
So like that's not. So it's definitely in the 100,000, right? Because if 4,000,
He has made over 4,000 sales. So
yeah, if they were all 30,
probably 60K this year.
Probably. I
But
mean,
I was invested in it too, though. But we're our resellers that know what they're doing. We're not paying much for this stuff.
that's super cool. I'm definitely gonna support and probably get a little something from your shop.
But see me, I'm gonna teach you how to fish. Like I can give you fish. I like this a lot.
I like that too. No matter what.
Mm,
Well, that's clean though.
I got this hoodie for life. So name of the game. So whenever I have free time, I hit the thrift store. I buy item. I lift it on. I bought it for like $10,
Wow. And you're selling them for how much?
55. Not even crazy. Not even
Wow.
crazy flip.
Nice.
That's the name. That's the name of the game. Probably bought this for $3 or something.
Wow. Wait, where'd you get that from? Like a thrift
I got
store?
this from Goodwill.
Ooh. I
Some of the
like
stuff came out though. Like this came out my closet. This jumpsuit came out my closet.
ooh.
And then sometimes a picture in it. Oh, you know, the picture's on the page.
Oh nice. Oh,
But that's the same jumpsuit.
I like that jumpsuit actually. I love the jacket.
I
Like I
bought it for
really
like
like.
$4 for Goodwill.
Wow.
Yeah. So I mean, reselling, it takes patience, but I mean, it's, if you get good at it and stay consistent with it, like you make a lot of money. But it's like quick money. It's like if somebody buys it, you just made $30, $40. Just not even doing anything.
Wow.
But at the same time, you're really paying for the labor and the time
Okay.
for me to go find this. I'm still an activist. I got
Yeah.
my Black History stuff.
Ah. Is that it's vintage because of the label?
It could be. It's not very clear when
Mm.
they made this,
I love the microscope on it.
but it probably was made in like the early 2000s. That's why I have Y2K. That means 2000s.
Okay.
I
Interesting.
don't know. Sometimes I'll put Y2K. I got the God is dope. I got a lot of like God stuff too. I got college stuff.
If you throw UCLA in that mix, if you find a vintage UCLA thing, I'd definitely get that.
Hey, you can find, that'll be hard to find here because we're near California, but they definitely got a vintage UCLA. You don't find something crazy probably.
If you really do, I have you send it to me. I like the hoodie though. The sweatpants. Those are pretty.
Like
The gray?
this jacket.
Oh. Oh, like the light blue. Oh, that's super pretty.
From the 80s.
Yeah. Oh.
He has a mannequin.
I like that.
And then you see related stuff. If you go scroll down, then you see stuff that's like related or whatever.
Oh, I'm gonna definitely. I want some more UCLA gear. Do you have some A and T stuff in there?
Oh, I pretty much keep my A&T stuff. I do have a vintage A&T. Uh, stuff. I do actually have a vintage A&T hoodie right over here if you want to see it.
Oh, I do.
It's probably from the 80s. Found it in the thrift store.
Wow. Wow.
That's a tag. I got some fucking stuff too, of course.
Of course.
Gotta have my cart. And then a couple of more things I'm sure y'all like that I really like. They kind of fit to the whole acting side. I'm
Okay.
this probably too much. It says anti-racist.
Oh wait, it froze. Or you froze. Your screen froze.
It says
I'm not really sure why though.
I'm frozen.
Yep. Uh, Strange. I don't know what happened.
Shall I leave?
Yeah, sure. You could also try.
Refresh.
No. Yeah, refresh. Woo! Nice. Okay, it's corrected. Nice.
Is that better?
Yes.
Okay, I was saying the shirt says anti-racist.
Oh, nice. Wow.
But this
You
is
found that.
definitely a new shirt.
You found that also at a thrift store.
Yep.
Okay.
One of my favorite pieces. Reparations now. They got them on a slave ship and they got them in jail.
Wow. Well, that's dope. I mean, it's not dope because obviously what it's represented, but also like
It's
it is
dope.
dope.
Oh,
I
I got
mean, not the history part.
I have a picture in this shirt on Instagram. The Negro Leagues baseball team.
Oh, somebody sent me a video, but that's for later.
So yeah.
Okay.
I got
Well, you still haven't explained what brought you into vintage fashion to
Oh yeah,
begin with.
I'll say that real quick. So what happened was I've been thrifting my whole life just because my parents like thrift shopping. But one day I went to this event called ThriftCon, which is the largest vintage uh, market in the whole world. But they travel across the United States all year, and they're in Atlanta the year. Now somebody had passively mentioned it, but I got my friends to go.
Okay.
And I was shopping. I was going through the racks of this one shop. I picked up a shirt, and it had prints like not. It wasn't Purple Rain, was it? I don't know, but it was like a vintage like print. And of course, I didn't know about vintage and stuff like that for real. I just was shopping for a shirt, and I went to the dude and I said, "Yo, how much is the Prince shirt?" And it had this little symbol all over it and everything. Dude, how much is this shirt? He was like, "Oh, you look like a cool dude. You know, I give it to you for $8.50." I was like, "Oh, bet $8.50." And he's like, "No, $850."
Oh,
And my
that's
head
it.
said, "Ding, ding, 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 ding." I was like, "Well, I'm in the thrift shop all the time, buying cool stuff. So like, I'm just flip it." And that's what happened. And that's why. And guess who's selling that ThriftCon this year?
You really?
Mark your calendar. March
Wow.
20th is going down.
Nice. All right, I will put that also in the description about anybody who sees this who happens to be in Atlanta. Go find. Is it at like a booth? You have a booth
Yeah, I'm
area.
a vendor. Yeah.
All right, go find him, y'all.
And you all that literally have never seen before. But I can't lie. Like vintage is that thing where stuff is so unique. It's better than regular clothes. Stuff gets so unique, and then it'll be something like from your childhood or something that you haven't seen in a long time. It'll be like, oh, is that a vintage Thomas the Tank Engine hoodie? Like, I don't know. I mean, you just see it. Or so it can be your favorite singer stuff. Like, it could be, oh, this is vintage Whitney Houston, like real Whitney Houston, a real Whitney Houston tour shirt or a real Marvin Gaye tour shirt that people just have for some reason. You know, it's a whole culture. But like I said, anything you dive in, it's a whole world, man.
True. That's very true. I, I guess did you figure that out in your journey into like building this shop? Like it sounded like, oh, okay, I just have to like find some clothes, buy them, sell them, and then that's
Yeah,
all. But
we
like,
had to find. It was me and my nephew really. We just had to find
okay,
the right marketing platform and all that other good stuff, and then
gosh,
literally learn. You asked me earlier, like, how do we know the worth of stuff? You don't. Some people think something worth $5. Some people drop 2 stacks on it. You don't know, and that's one of the downfalls of it, though, is that your business is, if you do like a pop-up shop or something, it 100% relies on how good you're gonna do. Really relies on the foot traffic.
wow, okay,
I mean, that's with any business, but
true,
if it's on foot traffic, you're gonna do good. If it's not, you're not gonna do good unless you sold one or two things that were high price.
huh?
But if you invest so little in it, if I sell 100 items at ThriftCon, like I'm gonna be up.
Understandable.
Just think about it. If I sold 100 things and average $10, I made $1,000.
True. Is that your average price, roughly like $10, or what would you say? Like,
Well, I'm gonna put most of my stuff probably for like $10 and $20. So the setup is gonna be $10 rack, $20 rack, and what we call a heat rack with stuff that's over $20. But
okay,
that stuff is gonna have more special like pricing.
interesting.
But
That's
I paid the same for all of it, or made it. So it's like, well,
wow.
paid $5. I've sold stuff for $250 before, $250, $300,
Wow.
and then you just be eating Popeyes, and your phone will say, "Oh, made a sale," and you just gotta ship it out.
So like, do you have a particular like fashion inspiration for how you put fits together or what you think is like
Yeah, I actually, that's a good question. I actually recently discovered my style. Well,
okay.
I know my style, but I recently discovered what it's called, which helps me piece it together even further.
Okay. What is it called?
So I was on Pinterest looking at men's clothes or something, and I gotta share my screen again to show you this.
Okay.
So I'm gonna share. I'll just go back to the Chrome tab I was on. I was just on the computer, whatever. I'll go on Google, and then I don't know if I found it on Pinterest or something. But there's really styles, but they'll call them styles. They call them aesthetics. So
Ooh.
my aesthetic is a mixture of this thing. I don't know what they call it this, but it's called soft boy. I
Soft
just like this
boy.
a lot. Air Force Ones, vintage shirt. I just like this a lot. I really like this.
Oh.
But
I've
I'm
seen some of your
also, but then also, I'm more of a mix because there's nothing called athleisure. And
Oh,
that gets
true.
into the sweatpants. That gets into like the sweatpants and stuff.
Tracksuit type thing.
Track suits, sweatpants. So I'm kind of a blend between the soft boy and the athleisure. That's how I dress.
Soft boy athleisure. Huh.
They got like hardcore boy. They got skater,
Gosh.
which I think takes it more extremely. But they're gonna have a huge shirts with the huge everything like
Oh,
this.
they're like super oversized.
But everybody has their own aesthetic. It's just kind of like a little bit too over the top for me. It's a
Fair.
little
I
bit,
get that.
it's a little too over the top for me. Uh, But see how they have like retro skater outfit, all this other stuff. if you need further inspiration, there's these threads on Pinterest. I hate to call this, but it's called Choose a Boyfriend.
That's funny. I know what threads you're talking about exactly, though.
You know what I'm talking about? And they just got fits.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you can do it like that. You can put fits kind of together like this.
Oh.
This is really cold right here. I'm Jason.
I wonder if there's like the the sweatshirt. Oh yeah, I could see it. I could see that being something you worn. I'm gonna look into that. I don't know if they have a choose your girlfriend version. I've seen the choose your
Oh, that's
boyfriend
fine.
ones before.
Let's see.
Choose because yeah, I think I'm starting to define my style, figure out exactly what that is. I think it's gotten clear over the past few years, but
We got once you see what it's called and you can see more examples of it. Oh, your wardrobe is gonna really be like. And then now that you got
ooh.
Depop stuff, you can get what.
I'm gonna
So
spend some time exploring this because I love Pinterest. Love
now
that.
that you know about vintage clothes and everything, this one conversation, your style is gonna be like my style is to the point where I just pull stuff out of my closet, put it on, and it just works.
Oof. I'm trying to get there. So I'm with this vibe. I've learned 3 things today. Shoot, thank you. I'm gonna explore. Really try and spend some time trying to.
Way more options and stuff though. I got way more clothes.
Honestly, like we do, but then that's like a good thing and a bad thing. It's a good thing, but then also like to define kind of like what your style is, there's just so much range. Like I would wear some retro vintage things, but I also might wear like some classic Instagram model things. But I also would wear like
That's why
I feel like
I had to put myself in the mix.
yeah, interesting.
There's a
I'm gonna
list.
explore that.
What's those aesthetics all wrong? Uh,
Is there anything that you wish would come back into fashion?
Same thing. I wish that would come back. I feel like everything already. One thing I don't see that I haven't seen nobody put the crisscross, the backwards pants.
Okay.
I guess that was really see. This is it's different between, and this is so cliche. It's a style. It's styles and it's trends and it's fads.
Mm.
The whole '90s aesthetic thing, like that's a style. That's the energy that's being put out. That's not just wearing it because you think it's cool. Like we call that hype beast. That's a hype beast.
Oh.
That's a hype beast aesthetic. When you're wearing stuff just because it's cool, that's like the Supreme and the Bapes and the Tommy.
Okay. I know somebody who actually does that.
Antisocial social club. That's hype beastie stuff.
Okay.
So it's very
I have
hype
to
beastie.
see. I don't know if I'd wear. I know some people who would wear that for sure, but I don't know if I would.
It's so hype beastie that it hurts me to look at.
Yeah, like the style's a little much, but I do know some people who.
This right here, yeah, this is bad. Like no, but yeah, that's hype beast aesthetic. So
Interesting.
so many. And then once you really learn, see, clothes gives you energy. Like this
Yeah.
probably last year, but it looked like this was taken like the freaking 1993 or something.
Wow.
The bell bottom jeans, and then he got an old bike, and he's like, okay. Then you got the oversized t-shirts with a big graphic. That's a Miniman March. Oh, yo, that's fresh. Hold on. My boy got the Miniman March.
Yeah. Would you wear it with the jeans and the shoe?
I probably wore or some Air Force Ones or something like
Mm.
that. I like the big. I like the pants with it.
Okay.
There's some Instagram stuff that you can follow for like all this inspiration and whatever. Oh Lord,
Oh, I can
I don't believe it's me.
alter just while you do that, so nobody. I don't
Oh, you
think I.
can't see my. They can't see my phone number.
Fair enough.
I was about to walk through some things from my page. This is from the early 2000s. Gresham Park is basically a football team from East Atlanta, like a rec wave thing.
Oh,
And this might go for
I saw that. Y'all are super
yeah.
cute.
Appreciate it.
You're very welcome.
This is a reel of vintage outfits that I just completely thrifted. All this stuff's in my closet.
I love the shirt.
The Danny Phantom.
Yeah,
Those
Danny Phantom
are
and the
Reeboks.
Ghostbusters.
Those are Reeboks that I'm selling.
Oh, I love the hoodie with it too. The hoodie with the jacket. That was clean.
Yeah, man. I mean, the shoes and everything have been thrifted. The jacket, the whole outfit.
Wow.
These are the
Wow.
same Reebok pants that I got. Yep. And I'm gonna walk you through this outfit. These are some vintage Levi's. You see how
Oh,
they like stop right here?
yeah.
And this is like a just like work shirt. This is Guess, but it's not vintage. It's retro. A retro Guess. And then the vintage
Oh.
like visor.
No, your style is really like clean. I know like everybody has their own different style, but I definitely see the fits that you put together.
This is a vintage Red Tails Iggy Airman. I don't know if
Okay.
you caught that from the inside of the jacket.
I definitely
And,
wouldn't have caught it.
and this is a very rare gold San Francisco bomber jacket.
Oh. Where'd you find it?
Some of the stores are a little bit more curated than others. But
Okay.
when I found that more vintage type of store.
Oh.
They
Okay.
got a whole story behind these. Where is it? There's a whole news article came about those. Yep.
Oh wow.
So it's not too many of them. Yeah. And this is like a just a little windbreaker. And then my friend makes these shirts. But this is a vintage hat. It says Monster on the Court.
Oh. That's clean. I like the windbreaker for sure.
Yeah.
I would wear that.
And then I don't know if you know my account got hacked, which is why I have a new one, but
I
this
did
hacked.
know.
Yep, this is all hacked.
So you don't have access to it anymore? Wow.
But all this is like vintage, straight vintage clothes. So
Wow.
yeah.
Oh, that's sad that you can't get the page back too.
All right. I look at it. Look at this as a fresh start.
Fair enough.
Definitely a fresh start. Ooh, this the haul. Let's see what I got from the thrift store that day.
Oh. Do you have like a TikTok or did you make this in Reels?
I did that with real, I think.
Oh, cool.
I saw some of that stuff.
Ooh. Oh, yeah, there's the tracksuit. My sister would like that. Wow.
So that was Salvation Army and Goodwill.
Oh, that's so
I'll
cool.
say, yep. The last thing I'll say about it is I like anime. Like this is Hunter x Hunter stuff.
Oh, see, yeah, I need to get more into anime. Do you have any recommendation?
Well, how hard you want to go? Because
Can you give me like a beginner, middle, and
beginner anime,
yeah?
I like a lot. This is like uh, American Red Cross. I'm sure blood types, I guess. I don't know.
Oh,
Yeah.
I would wear
And
something like
that's
that.
I got plenty of Olympic stuff from the Olympics,
Oh,
from the 1996 Olympics. Single stitch.
yeah. Wow. I'm
Mhm.
definitely gonna start looking at clothes very differently, like moving
Oh,
forward.
it's different. This was
Yeah.
a thrift store.
Ooh, $2 Saturday.
So people were trying to buy it out the, at the comment section.
Wow. Well, I believe. I mean, it sounds you like naturally. I don't know if you intend to do it, but also I think you do at the same time. But you're gonna grow in this because you're very talented at it and definitely passionate about it. I look forward to like hearing about it in a few years where your store is taking you.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. There's people that's way better at this than me. Like if you want to follow their like
I mean,
Instagram pages and stuff.
but everybody starts somewhere.
I'm a rookie into the game.
At least you're working on it
I
every
mean,
day.
pull out my whole closet, man.
I'm glad that was cool though. I genuinely learned more about fashion more than I had before. I think like outside just I'm very visual, but paying attention to the details. And I think that's kind of what I learned from like watching you talk about it today or just like listening and absorbing. Like there's a lot more character, I feel like, to clothing than I noticed before.
This is the energy you want to put out. Your clothes is literally your outer shell. Like how my turtle has a shell.
Mm, that's dope. I'm gonna like quote that. I'm gonna put that from you though. I'll be like,
I don't know how you gonna put that. There was one more thing I wanted to mention. I can't think of. But definitely try to utilize Depop and stuff like that. Go through the store. It's good for the environment. Thrifting is so good for the environment because
okay,
it's a thing called fast fashion, where corporations are using so many resources just to reprint the same like shirts and stuff like that. And like 80 of the clothes ever made is not going to be used. So it's all in landfills and on random islands around the world. So thrifting is better for the environment. It's better for your pockets. Easy to get addicted, especially if you know what you're doing. So if you're gonna get too much stuff, you got to look into like selling it. But the market still is kind of become saturated, but still where you could kind of jump in and it's an easy thing to master, honestly.
okay, that's cool, huh?
It's my
I'm
side
gonna
hustle.
I'm gonna definitely start to spend more time, and I like that. Yeah, I've seen a lot of fast fashion. I, in my own way, have contributed to it because some of my clothes are from it. I think style because they're able to produce so many styles. But I think I rode the wave of it before we started to see, at least in the news, more about the environmental impact of it. Like it was just like when it was heightening. And then maybe in the past 2 years, I've seen more about like what it's done to like not only labor, like the labor that they're using, but also like the waste and being mindful of that. I'm intrigued. I've learned a lot though. And I'm going to approach my clothing differently as I'm trying to develop my style.
There you go. Your aesthetic. We too big for style now. It's your aesthetic.
I will. I will. I'm definitely gonna, support Black-owned business. You feel me? And also get it. I saw a few things in your shop that you were showing that I will definitely
Yeah, just
explore, and
check
also
the
Christmas presents.
the Reeboks, whatever. Like, I'll
Yeah.
literally, if you buy, I'll just ship them to you tomorrow. Like, it's fine.
Well, we'll talk. We'll have a conversation about that.
I mean, I'm not saying specifically. I'm saying, like, for example, like, if you want to, you don't have to go through the app. You can if you want to download the app and go through the app and do that. But I'm saying, if you see something on there that just want to just text me about it or Instagram me about it, and then Cash App me is yours.
All right. No,
Or
I
is that-
will. I'm gonna go like later on and look through the full range of everything you guys see what I. All right.
When's the next time you're in Atlanta?
Oh, that's a great. Oh, actually, 2 weeks from now, I'm going for somebody's wedding.
You going for wedding? What day?
18, 17, 18 through 20th, 21st. So that week, Thursday to Sunday.
Hey man, if you on 20th, that's ThriftCon.
Oh, it is ThriftCon. Oh, okay, shoot. I really could. Oh, all right. I'll hit you up about the details of that.
Okay.
I might stream it though, but I'll still do it. Like I want to explore, see what's out there, clothing wise. Because some of the
Yeah.
sweatpants, I was like, yeah, the jacket, the UCLA bomber jacket, I'm gonna have to recircle around that. Circle
What
back.
the UCLA Mama Jacket?
Yeah, that's
I'm gonna
my.
give you. That's what I was. Where's the chat? I'm gonna give you a page to follow on Instagram of the guy who really does it. Like I said, I'm a young grasshopper.
He said grasshopper. That's funny.
I want you to go on this. Where is the chat? I can't see it anymore. Our chat.
Send it to me. There should be a like the word bubble.
Make sure I'm typing this right. You just go on this page right quick and then just look in the story. You see what I'm saying? It's 40 times better than mine.
I'll look into it. Anyway, I'm intrigued. I do have another question for you though.
Yeah, what's up?
In all this, I kind of got inspired by our conversation, right, about fashion, just as like learning the details of it and what I can be looking for in it, and also how to be more environmentally friendly with it too. But when was the last time that you felt deeply inspired, and why?
The last time I felt deep inspired.
Mm-hmm.
I find inspiration in everyday things. Even driving, looking at the sunset, I'm like, wow, there's a lot of bad stuff in this world, but there's a lot of good too.
Mm.
I find
Facts.
inspiration in things my friends are doing. Now, let me think of the biggest inspiration that I've seen. Okay, inspiration for what? Like my career or just life?
Anything. It could be either one. It could be both. It could be either one.
Well, I won't get into too much detail, but I saw my dad over the last, it was probably like 2 years ago, beginning of the pandemic. Yeah. I seen him get really sick, super sick.
Sorry to hear
And he
that.
just made a full recovery, like really crazy. Like
Wow.
every time I think about that, I get inspired. I don't want to get too many.
Understandable. Thank you for sharing that. In general.
And then yesterday, I learned that when that was happening to him, he called my mom, and my aunt was there. My aunt told me about it yesterday. And you know what he told my mom?
What?
He said I was dead, but you brought me the will and kind of brought me back to life. He said that to my mom.
Wow.
Not inspiration. See, black love can work. You know, it's trendy to talk about being toxic and all this other stuff, but it exists. Black love definitely exists.
We just need to see more of it.
I see it every day.
That's a blessing, truly. And I know you know that too.
My parents been married for. They got married when I was 3.
Wow. Have you ever asked them what the secret to that was? Like how they
No,
were able.
I've asked other people that, but
Huh.
living with my parents, I know what keeps them together. It's because they're a good team. They have plenty of arguments and disagreements and stuff like that all the time. But when they're together and they like have a goal, they turn into one person. 2 people become one person.
Mm.
They become a machine. And they're unstoppable. That's what keeps them together. Just the fact that the hope. And at the end of the day, that's who's gonna be there. It's not your kids. And people, it bothers people when I say this. Like, oh, who you gonna choose? Your mama, your kids, and your wife. Wife every time.
Why?
Why? Because your parents were supposed to instill in you, right, your life values. Your kid's supposed to inspire you to do better.
Mm.
But both of them together pretty much equals this is your partner who you're gonna spend your life with.
How do you find a good partner? How do you know?
You don't, I don't. But my
Fair enough.
significant other now, just make everything easy. Makes everything easy. And I'm not saying I'm dating her out of convenience or nothing like that, but I mean spiritually.
Mm.
A lot of struggling. She can help me with my issues, and I can help her with hers. Just mutual and respect too. Disrespect. And using the two strongest words of a relationship is I understand.
Mm. Wow. That inspired me, low key. But like also high key. That's beautiful though.
Yeah.
And I'm so happy to hear that.
I found out inspiration in my significant other too. She works with autistic kids. She used to work with severe autistic kids. Was literally beating her up all the time. It's crazy. Like she had to
Oh.
put on armor to go to work. But that inspires me how big her heart is and how much patience that must take.
I
And that's one
can,
of
but
those jobs. That's one of those jobs that nobody really trying to do. She's a behavioral technician.
mm. This is really sweet though. I feel like okay, it's beautiful that you've been able to see. And I know you guys. I saw the post that you put on Instagram on Valentine's Day, which I loved it. I love Black excellence, Black love, just or people of color as a whole. Because I have a lot of friends with different ethnic backgrounds, but who are minorities, and just seeing everybody succeed, seeing everybody find like healthy and happy relationships. That to me is winning. But I encourage you to like keep kind of not obviously share your relationship with the world because it is private, but the moments like you had on Valentine's Day to continue to share them because I feel like we need to see more of it. And that doesn't mean like put it out for the public to like consume or anything, but at the
It's the
same
same thing
time,
with activism. That's what I was saying with activism. It's like it's okay to get in front of the camera. It's just for what
yeah,
reason?
I get that.
Some people are totally against being on the camera. But people got to see the stuff, man. They can see like the black love is it can work. All these relationship issues and stuff like that, and being toxic, all that is it's trauma. And we're just now realizing what trauma is
Mm,
and how it affects us.
mm,
And it's not just
that's
our own personal trauma; it's trauma as a race. It's families being snatched from each other, being snatched from each other, mate. the other person didn't need them.
Mm.
Direct correlation. And the
I think
family is really the strongest thing.
you living it and learning your parents and you also now like going down that journey, that's the beginning of breaking kind of those generational curses that had started. But yeah, actively breaking certain spells that we've kind of all been in, and you're leading by just being, almost by being an example of like trying to understand what a healthy black love looks like. I'm working on it
I
because I
agree.
know I imagine that's not perfect. It's really not. They never can be, but mm,
J. Cole said that nobody's perfect. Perfect for you.
exactly. You said that she makes things for you spiritually feel easier. What does spirituality mean to you?
Spirituality.
Mm-hmm.
Spirituality. I don't know your religious beliefs and stuff, but spirituality is just it's just a way of people trying to understand divine God stuff
Mm-hmm.
and how you are choosing to relate to that.
That's
That's
basically how I
pretty
would
much
describe it.
that's how I would describe spirituality.
Okay. I
And
understand.
I think it's important mentally. You know, whatever your spirituality looks like, I think that's important because it keeps your moral ethics standard down packed,
Yeah.
keep you grounded, and it provides at least some sort of relief. Like, well, why is the world like this? And then seeing the good and bad in the world. And I can get you that whole rabbit hole when it comes to that stuff, but you know,
Yeah. I I actually really do understand. That's very similar to how I would describe it as well. At least my relationship with spirituality. And I kind of ask every person I've interviewed, I'll usually ask them questions that I know are specific to them. So for you, that was activism and fashion and just like you professionally. But every single person I've interviewed at the end, I always ask about spirituality and just trying to understand and hear everybody's perspective on it. Because I know that there's so many, and I feel like the best way to actually understand God, the spirit, is to hear everybody's perspectives and see kind of where we're agreeing and where everybody's kind of seeing their own vision of it.
yeah.
But there are
I think if we're using the term, if we're using the term God, I think God is within us. I feel like a lot of people think it's this external thing that's like, oh, you pray and then it grants wishes, you know. But to me, it's like God is within you. I'm not saying you got other people on the other extreme saying, oh, you're art and all this other stuff. It's like, but
yeah.
I think God is within us, and I think it's our inner moral judgment, or right and wrong, or how to treat people.
Mm.
And when you pray, you're not praying to yourself, but you're channeling the spirituality. But see, you don't want to do anything unless you do something yourself.
Mm.
I could pray to get fed all day, but is Chipotle that got waiting on me after this is done just gonna float? Feel me?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm in such a strange position as a scientist and as a teacher and as a believer too, because I'm teaching science, so it's like I got to teach about dinosaurs and all that sort of stuff. So then I have to tell the kids like you gonna form your own belief system about stuff that was there before you.
Mm-hmm.
You really don't know if the world started when you was born and everything just popped into existence. You don't know if you're in a crazy house or anything, but you don't know you weren't there when God formed the world or whatever formed the world. If you believe it was billions of years, or if you strictly go by the Bible, you believe that it was maybe 7,000 years ago. So I wrestle with that a lot. It's like I'm teaching dinosaurs, but then do I teach Noah's Ark? Was dinosaurs
Mm.
art? That's a surface level thing. and then it's like your logical mind to fight it, but every time spirituality and the lessons that you get is the ultimate thing that should define your character.
Mm. Wow.
And it's really not important if dinosaurs was on the ark or how old Adam was when God made him. Like, was he a baby or was he a grown man already when he formed him? Things stuff you can ask. But that message is that, what I'm saying, we sin against God. And Islam, they believe in so strongly that if you sin and you sin against somebody, you gotta apologize to them first before you can even come to God.
Wow.
Right? But that's a whole religions and all this other stuff. I guess I would say I identify as a Christian, but I think I don't know if I could say I identify with a traditional Christian. I identify with a Christian because I believe that Jesus Christ died and was resurrected for our sins.
Mm-hmm.
But of that, my understanding of religion is it's kind of vast, but it's also really personal to me. So
That makes sense. As it's supposed to be.
I just treat people how they want to be treated. Try to exude good energy. That's it. That's the ultimate.
That's the best way you can live. Like, and everybody has their own different perspective on it. But the core things that you mentioned, that is really, in my opinion as well, I guess there's always going to be somebody on the other side who disagrees, but I also agree that's the best way to live. And yeah, you can't really worry about everybody else's relationship with God, spirituality, God either. I appreciate you joining for the interview, Ron. I'll be heading out, but it was definitely
Oh,
nice to
before you
hear.
head out, and this is for you too.
Okay.
Number one coping thing, or the thing I learned that completely saved my mental health. I want everybody that's listening to remember:
Okay.
you cannot be putting in energy trying to change people's perceptions of you.
Okay.
That's probably the thing I learned, and one of the biggest things I learned in my life.
You cannot put in energy to change people's perception of you.
Whether that's that, for example, and that'll be the last thing I'll talk about. For example, let's say I have a girlfriend and we break up, right?
Mm-hmm.
And let's say she broke up with me. See, exactly. That's exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah. So you can
So
only see so much.
if she broke up with me, now I'm acting crazy trying to get her back and all this other stuff, right? And that's energy. When I should just be like, this is your decision. That's probably a terrible example. That's probably a terrible example, but that will save so many people more mental health trouble. Your boss don't like you, do your best.
That's all you can
Got a friend
do.
that said this about you. That's what they believe. They don't really know you. But it goes the opposite way too for good stuff. Like, for example, like if I'm afraid to tell my parents something, I gotta remember it's hard for me to change my parents' perception of me. They always gonna love me. So why wreck my brain trying to think of how something gonna go? Oh, I said mouthful right there. So it's difficult to change people's perceptions of you. So if you got a boyfriend or something like that, and you trying to make him love you and everything like that, it's like he either is or he's not.
People tend to believe they're right. If they aren't open to considering they're wrong, then it's a losing battle until they're ready for that consideration anyways. Facts. 100%.
So remember, you can't really push the people's buttons, unless you do or something.
I don't think any of us do, but
so I think me telling you this will save you a lot of trouble in the future.
It sounds like we're definitely anybody who needs to hear. I think there's a lot of people who do. So thank you for highlighting that, like that important life lesson, and the poet for emphasizing it too. But it is important for everybody who listens to this now, like the poet, and everybody after this. just focus on yourself. I mean, not in like a selfish, like self-righteous way, but
Right,
all
still
you
treat
can really
people
do.
how you want to be treated. Just know that you can't dig into their perception and make them believe something about you.
True. True. That kind of happened tonight, actually, at dinner with my family, but that's a whole different conversation for a whole different day.
Family, that's where it starts, man. Because they'll gaslight you on everything.
That's true.
It's just like that's just their limited perspective.
Yourself and your actions, reactions are the only thing you have control over. Facts. That's true.
The only
You can
thing.
influence. I feel like you can influence other things.
Influence and control is different.
How
Influence
so?
and control is different.
Well, yeah, I think that's true. There's really not much outside of yourself you can control, but you can influence other things. You can influence, but you can't control, like you're saying, people's perceptions. You can't control gas prices. You can't control how society trends work. You can influence it, but control's hard for anything outside of you to begin with. Yeah. All right. I have actually also one more, my last question for you, at least written
Okay.
question. And it was, what areas of your life would you like to grow in, and how can I help support that growth?
My dad always said, if you're green, you're growing. And if you're right, you're right.
Okay. Wow,
I'm
that's
trying to grow everywhere I can. And that is represented actually by my hair. See,
oh.
this is my crown. That's why I wear it like this, because like a crown.
Ooh.
And it just, to me, it represents like my ancestry and stuff like that. But it also represents growth.
Mm.
There's growth everywhere in all aspects, except for I want to be super happy. But other than that, growth and love, man. I want to learn how to love people better and how to show it. Growth
The
in,
fact that you're interested in it is the first step.
yeah,
Yeah.
everything is growth financially, which I
Amen
know
to
is
all of it.
important, but I mean, it's long skin not important, but you got to do it in this society, is what it is.
True.
Growth intellectually. I love learning.
Same. Is there any way that I can help support that growth? I'm hopefully this
And just
is
pump out
one
that
way.
content. Do you? Just keep pumping out that content.
Well, shoot, I'm working on it. Will do. Will do. I'm gonna do my part.
So
All right.
do
Well,
your best. Do your best. Somebody that you don't even know you inspire right now.
I've been being told that a lot more recently, or people have been trying to like reaching out to me in a way where they are perceiving me as a position of influence. Like somebody asked me to be on a panel for Black excellence. I was like, wow, because I don't really always feel that way. But the fact that it's nice to hear that I'm doing that. I'm doing my thing, but other people are perceiving me differently. And I've not been on this end. Most of the time, it's like negative perception. So the positive, it's a different feeling for sure.
Feels right when you're doing. Feels good when you're doing the right thing.
I definitely love this. I love getting better. I'm not great perfect at it. I don't expect to ever be really, but I'm getting better every week. And that excites me. Like, even just the process of the learning how to get better at it.
Definitely.
Yeah. But I really appreciate your time and the poet's time. You sat through the whole thing. I appreciate you for being so supportive, just listening, vibing out too. But also, Ron, I appreciate your time
My
and
pleasure.
taking out your Sunday evening to chat with me about all these different areas of life.
It is my pleasure. I feel so much pleasure for even just being considered. You know,
Oh,
you
of
one
course.
thing to hear what I say makes me feel good.
Oh, well, it was valuable. Like I learned like 6 things in this conversation.
Appreciate
So Like that's cool. Like I'm gonna take it really and carry it with me in life, and hopefully anybody who watches this or listens to it, because I'm working on the podcast, taking the audios from this and making a podcast version. But anybody who listens to this too, hopefully they learn something as well, or are inspired by something that you said too.
That was great.
And I think I mentioned it before, but for everybody listening, watching, the link to Ron's Instagram and Depop store are in the bio of this video. So if you want to go support, see some of the clothes that he was showing today, I would go check that out. I will, but I would go check that out. But that's all from me.
All right. I'll stop when you stop.
All right. Thank you, the poet. I'll see you later, and good night, Ron.
All right. Have a good one.
You too.